This
That's what we got.
conference will now be recorded.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is a good time to be recording in terms of, if you look at this company, it's showing 500,000 net income, but the operating net income, not quite 500,000. If we take this, see, the land's gone. You aren't gonna have it to sell next time. So we don't leave it. So we take the gain out and we put the proceeds down here. Notice 600 minus 500 is 100,000, which is the change in the land. So we get back that change that's reflected on the statement is 100. 600 source. Since the land went down, if an asset goes down, it's a source. So we're just moving that source from operations and putting it down here in investments. So now what? We got land taken care of.
So, so now we move to account payables,
Account payable.
which is the account payable it increased from year 1 to year 2, and I have it as a current liability in the source column.
So it's a current liability, so it's going where? In what part?
The source column.
Part 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, I'm sorry, part 1.
Operation, we have a current liability. Okay, so we're almost to the end. How many accounts we got left to do?
1, 2, 2 more.
That's 2 more.
So the long-term bond payable, I placed that. I placed that in part 3.
Part 3. So now we're taking care of the long-term bond. It went up by 100,000. So what happens to our funds when we borrow money?
It increases.
It increases it. So we go down here to part 3. Already got bonds down here. We just put 100,000 here. One more count to do and we're done.
Which is common stock, which is also part 3, and it's a source.
So common stock went from 50 to 800. So it went up what? 750,000, right?
Yes, sir.
So we can strike that. So we issued a stock, common stock. So if we want an A, what we got to do now? Get an A, what we got to do?
Just total up your parts.
Okay. So how much we got in part 1?
Part 1, we have 900,000 for the source, and for the use we have 1,100,000, which was a net change of negative 200,000.
Okay, so what do we know about this company right away?
That they're in the hole.
But you see, you could not tell that from the income statement. So that's the point. They look like a good company that had net income of 500,000, but 500 of it was non-recurrent. So we know that whenever this number's not positive, there's a problem. We come to part two.
Total part for source was 600,000. Total for use was 350,000, which equals 250,000 in investments.
And you can always put formulas in. So they got 250,000. From selling that land, but they bought some more equipment. Okay, and then finally we do the bottom part,
which was 150,000 in sources and
how much
400,000.
common stock did we get?
750,000.
Plus the bonds.
100,000 in bonds.
So how much is that going to be?
850,000.
Right. The dividend was
Boyd, how do we get 100,000 in bonds?
okay. We go to the bond, and the long-term bond went from 100 to 200. So you borrowed more money.
Okay.
Whenever the liability goes up. Okay, so now how much do we have here?
We have total 450,000.
So when we now add up minus 200 plus 250 plus 400, 450, how much do we get?
500,000.
Okay, so if you can do that, you got an A on it. So who else gonna be able to get an A? Do that. Just go through all of that and get an A. So Jennifer said she's gonna be able to get an A. Anybody else? Emmanuel said he's getting an A. Oh, here's Jacob now. He got here late, but he's anybody else getting the A? So Dominique, you plan on getting the A plus? Okay. So let's see what we need to do. Are there any questions on that problem before I give y'all this quiz?
I really want to know, because never mind. It don't even matter. Never mind.
I gotta make them work today. They stood and see Rodney did. Showed him how to do it, and he wasn't even a former student. He just went out there and knocked it out. So what we want to do is to work another one. But I'm gonna let you all work it. So let me find one to work. So all you should get the template.
Is this our quiz or just something you have us doing?
Well, I'll
I
give
have a
them
question.
then I let team 8 work on the quiz. So
I
I
have a
give
quick question.
what?
Is the dividend supposed to match the retained earnings? I mean, the ending of the retained earnings, or no?
No, Uh,
Okay.
let's go back to get your dividends, and that's a good question. Let's look at our problem and go back to when you go to the problem, you know what the beginning retained earnings is from the balance sheet. You know what the ending retained earnings is from the balance sheet. Your question mark is always, what is the dividend? And you know what the net income is because that's on the income statement.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, is this the right problem here? Which one did we do?
4.
Is it
We did
four?
8.8.
It's 4? Okay, yeah. So you see the beginning retained earnings is right here, 300,000. The
You're
ending
not
retained
sure.
earnings is right there, 400,000. The net income comes from the income statement, and you just got to solve this block here. Okay? You know the beginning retained earnings, the net income, subtotal, and the ending retained earnings. You simply need to solve for dividend.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
And this is the statement of retained earnings. What we're going to do is this. I'm going to actually go to problem 8.1. So I want all of the non-A students to work 8.1. So if you're not, if you in that C category that Jennifer asked about, I want you to work 8.1 now. Get your template, start from the beginning, and work 8.1. How's that sound? Now, if you plan on making an A, and if you want to join Taiwo and make an A, you know, you're not satisfied with no, even a B plus. You want an A. Let me see what let's see if I can get in here.
What problem is it again, Professor? I'm sorry, I was looking at the template.
One,
You said what?
the first one.
Which ones are the ones that's getting the aid supposed to do?
Who's that boldly talking up there?
Me, Ms. Mendez, because I'm not getting to see. I cannot get to see.
Look at the cash, see if it's shown up now in assignments. Cash flow attendance quiz.
Okay.
Is it in there, Dominique?
It's in there. I see it.
Okay. So if you want an A quiz next on Tuesday, you go and work that one. Now, a secret in terms of working that is that use your spreadsheet. Use your spreadsheet.
I have a question. You want all 4 problems go on the same cash flow? It's like the file opened up like 23 through 26.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
So you're either working homework problem 1 for your quiz, or are you
I got a
doing
question.
yes.
So it say due at 7, but I just got
Well, I got a guy
right. I ain't
gave
got
it to you
no
early
computer
now.
with me right now.
How long is it going to take you to do? How long did it take us to work the one just now? A half an hour?
Sir,
How long did it take Rodney to get through that first one?
I'm just not by no computer. That's what I'm saying.
It took me longer than a half an hour though, Professor. Just
Okay,
nothing.
So we're working on problem 8.1, right?
right. And there's no gain in 8.1, so that's the most simple and basic one.
Okay.
No lie. And I'm being an advocate for everybody. It didn't even take me half an hour to do that. So, and I had the last problem on the little things. Yeah. Can't you extend that to at least 8:30, 9 o'clock, something? Help us out. I mean, I understand it's a quiz, and technically it's supposed to be done during class
Work
time.
on the quiz, please. Work on the quiz. We'll handle the due date. Just work on the quiz.
Okay, but bear with us, okay?
Wait, so the 8.1, that's just for C students?
Yeah, that's not for you, Jennifer.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we should be doing the attendance quiz, right?
If you're having difficulties, do problem 1. So that is, if you didn't understand what we just did, do problem 1, which is simpler. If you did understand it, then do the attendance quiz. So that should be pretty clear, right?
This conference will
I don't
now
know
be
why you
recorded.
stopped.
Okay. So,
Thank you, Professor.
or depreciation, you're welcome. You have depreciation here on the income statement. It's also represented for the difference between accumulated depreciation at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. Remember, the entry is debit depreciation, credit accumulated depreciation. So once you pull it off the income statement, it's the same difference here. So you just got two places to get it. You can get it off the income statement, or you can get it off the difference between accumulated depreciation at the beginning and end of the period. Okay, you can get it from either one of those places. Let's see. File, show here. File, save.
Last question, I swear. So I don't understand short-term notes payable because note payable is supposed to be a long-term
It
liability.
could be short term or long term. So if it
So,
says short term, treat it as short term.
okay, but since it's a short, so since it's a short term, will it still be under long term? No,
No,
right?
it'll go up like an account payable.
Oh, okay, got it. Thanks. Okay.
I feel like I'm about to ask a dumb question. But I'm gonna shoot
It's
it.
never a dumb question, except the
Uh,
one that
at the end when we're doing the depreciation and the retained earnings, are we adding all that up to get our what's it called our depreciate? No, I don't know. Is it what are we trying to get again? The what's my sheet?
tell me what you're trying to get.
The for the fourth one, for our fourth last problem.
It's
That's
dividends.
that's
Dividends.
dividend.
Thank you.
That's dividends.
So
You
we're
got the point.
subtracting all that to get our dividends. What are we doing necessarily?
You're doing a statement of retained earnings. So you're doing a statement of retained earnings.
So where it says like we have the we have 2013 and then we are in 2012 and then it says it's 550,000 and 300,000. You said we're pretty much putting in the difference, right? For that.
Put in your beginning retained earnings, put in your net income, add the two together. Then put in your ending retained earnings. So the difference between this subtotal and the ending retained earnings is the dividend.
Okay. So then you just said put in the retained earnings and
Beginning
then
retained earnings,
you're breaking up, so I couldn't. It said the
put in
beginning
the
retained earnings.
beginning retained earnings,
Okay.
then the net income, and get a subtotal. Then put in your ending retained earnings. The difference between the subtotal and ending retained earnings is your dividend. So let me make this 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, 650,000.
4. Backspace.
And then you said I'm subtracting. I was typing. You said I'm
4,
subtracting that from that. You said hold on.
4, and 5. Okay. It's larger.
So I got my beginning earnings.
So you're going to add 1 and 2 to get 3. Then you're going to subtract 5 from 3 to get 4. Did that help? So add 1 and 2 together, get 3. Then subtract 5 from 3 to get 4. So in this problem, it tells you the
Wait.
net income is 8,000.
650,000. And then you
So
said
you simply drop in the 8,000 here. Then it tells you depreciation expense of 2,500. You drop that in. Let's just look at a decrease in account receivable. Okay, it's telling you, okay, so that's a decrease in the current asset. You know where it goes. So you simply are plugging in these items. Let's put, increase in inventories. We had that before. So since it increased, it's a use. So to work this quiz, you simply got to put all of these items in somewhere on this template. Then get your amounts for parts 1, 2, and 3, and add them up to get the change in cash flow for 4. That's all it's telling you to do. Put these changes on here. You don't have to do any addition and subtraction. We've done that for you. Put the changes on here and go from there.
Professor, are deferred tax and accrued liabilities both long-term?
Deferred taxes are long-term. Accrued liabilities are typically a short-term. Let me look, see if I can find this problem. Yeah, if you look at your chart of accounts, accrued liabilities are typically short-term. But that's why I put the chart of account in there. So just plow on through. Did we ever get a dividend?
For question 8.1, yes.
How much is the dividend?
I got 100,000.
I got 100,000.
Anybody else get 100,000?
I did.
All right, cool. I know I did it.
Carry on then. Now I'm working on a B. Once you get those done, then you get some more done. You're working on a B.
I
Mr.
have a
Boyd,
question.
you can go ahead.
With the accumulated Depreciation. What do we do with that? Because it's in parentheses. So like, I heard somebody say like, do we add them together or
You take the difference.
take the difference still?
Right.
Okay.
But let's look at this again. Here's accumulated depreciation. Okay, so let's bold it. You're going to take the difference. You just have two negative. They have debit balances, credit balances in their contra asset. So you always are taking differences. What is the difference between these two numbers?
50,000.
Okay. You also have it here. So you can get it from two places, off the income statement or this difference. But you are taking the difference, okay?
Okay.
Is that part clear?
Mr. Boy, I got a question. So about the long-term bond payable, would that be under the receipt of long-term loan or payment of long-term loan?
What did it do?
Payment paid. I think
You
that's the
talking about
question.
here? On problem one,
Yes, sir.
it was 0, then it went to 250. So what happened?
It increased.
Okay, so you owed no money. Let's assume that you had no student loans at the start of the year. Then you got 25,000 in student loans. What would have happened to your cash account? If you got 25,000 in student loans at the start of the school year, what would happen to your cash account?
Mm, I'm confused now. I'm not gonna lie. Can you repeat the question again? Sorry, just one more time.
If you got a student loan for 25,000, what would happen to your cash account?
It would go up. Or it would
Go up. So therefore, when this long-term bond goes up, it's a source of cash.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
same concept.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let me go in here.
We do have to turn in this sheet in today too, right, Professor? The quiz, or
Say that again.
we have to turn in this sheet too, right?
What sheet?
If there's no sheet, then we don't got to turn them in.
But you're breaking up. What are you asking about turning in?
I was asking about the quiz sheet, for the C students going up to a B, or is this just verbal quiz?
Well, we put it at midnight. Think you can get it done by midnight?
Okay, so we do have to turn it in. That's all I wanted to ask. We have to turn it in.
If you want points, I mean, I'm just trying to be nice. Those are bonus points.
Okay, and that's for the C plus students going up to a B.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got end of the day on it now.
Hello, Prof.
Professor,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
what, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna ask. Okay, so we're only fill. I'm trying to understand exactly what we're doing. I know that we're filling in the template or whatever, but what do we do after that?
After you fill in the template, let me see if you're going to add up the totals in each section. Let me see if I can find a template.
That's all we're doing, and then, or is there something after that?
That's all you're doing.
I thought it was something different from what we're doing. I don't know why I thought it was so hard.
Let me see. I'm looking for the one we just did. Okay, I don't see it now, but let's look at, I won't give it exact numbers, but suppose we had 350, 50. We had 100 here for accounts payable. So I'm just putting numbers in now. And inventory went up by 200,000. So assume these are your numbers. In part one, you're going to total up the sources. Then you're going to total up the uses. Then your change, you had source of cash, use of cash. Your net change is 300,000. That's all you're doing. You're adding the sources, you're adding the uses, and taking the difference. You're doing that in each part one, part two, and part three. And then when you combine parts 1, 2, and 3, the impact of those changes should be equal to your change in cash.
Professor,
Yes.
there's a accrued liabilities.
Accrued
Am I saying that
liability.
right? Does that go in operations? You got a lot in there that we haven't worked with, so I was like, Jesus. I mean, I
Well, you
put it in there, but my number's not matching.
so your chart of account, look at
Accrued
where
liability.
accrued liabilities are. They're what? A current liability. Deferred taxes, long term. So you use the rule, current liabilities are always in operations, long-term liabilities are in financing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Current assets, no matter what their names are, they're going to be in
Oh,
operation.
you gave it to us. Okay.
Long-term, yep, I got it right there for you. Long-term assets are going to be in investing. Current liabilities, operation, long-term liabilities, financing. So it's kind of laid out there with the template, but you got to assume that is easy. And just, sort of, you see the template says net income and net loss, depreciation, a decrease in a current asset or an increase in a current asset, a decrease in a current liability, increase in a current liability, or decrease in a current liability. You simply, then you have the loss on these assets. Part two, if you sell a long-term asset as a source, if you buy one as a use, template is laying it out. Then on common stock, it's typically going up as a source if you were to buy it back or be in use. If you receive a long-term loan, it's a source. If you repay it, it's a use. Here's dividends. And you're adding up sources and uses in each category and coming up with the net change. Did it go up or down? So how are we coming on problem one, everybody?
Pretty dog.
Say what? Who's that mistreating that dog? Give him a bone.
Oh, my fault. I didn't know my mic was on. But I'm coming along good. I'm adding up my stuff right now.
So could you work one of those on Tuesday?
Yeah. If it come out to the equal total, then yeah, I could.
Now remember you said that.
I will.
Now which one you doing, Grace? Rodney, you gonna be able to work it out?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it right now.
All right. Now the other one was just worded. I guess you all kind of took it the wrong way with the quiz. I didn't want you to have to add and subtract and take differences. So I just put the differences there for you to plug in. That was supposed to make it simpler, not harder.
Yeah, it's hard to plug it in.
Yeah.
All right, just plug
It's
them in.
simple, but you got to know where to go. That's the hard part.
That's what it is. But I think the
But
chart of
you
accounts
got
is
the
gonna help
chart
you.
of accounts.
Yeah, the chart of accounts.
That's what I'm using.
I'm
Okay.
I did
using,
the part of the accounts. I added everything up, and it's not adding.
It's still not balancing.
Yeah,
It's
because
really just
I put it the exact way that like I've been doing it, which was right, and then when I'm here, it's like not working.
okay, so I
We'll look
called
at it in a second, but let's go to the screen for a second.
Go to my screen.
Now I'm
Oh,
going to Mac.
I was like, what?
Excuse me. If you have a current asset, now 1 to 131, you go in operations, okay? And you treat it just like receivables or inventory. So if you got another one, it's in operations. If we didn't have it, if it's a long-term asset, it's in part 3. Part 2 investment. Current liabilities, no matter what they name, they're going to go in operations.
yes.
And they're going to be treated just like the account payable. Long-term liabilities are going to go in part 3, finance. And of course, you know where common stock goes. You don't have to worry about anything over here other than the depreciation expense.
So
Because
that's
you pick up your net income. So you don't even have to worry about anything over here because the net income picks up all of this. So you don't even have to worry about these accounts. It's only the current assets, long-term assets. Current assets, part 1. Long-term assets, part 2. Current liabilities, part 1. Long-term liabilities, part 3. Stockholders' equity, part 3. So kind of use that as a guide a little bit.
Jesus. Can you say that one more time?
Okay,
Hold
get your
on.
chart of accounts, okay?
I got it open. I'm ready. He said current assets is part 1.
Got that part 1. Just put a part 1 here.
Yes, sir.
long term.
Long term is part 2.
Yes. Current liabilities in part 1.
Part 1.
Long term liabilities is in part
Part 3.
yes, for long term liability.
Gotcha.
This is part 2.
And then
Current
Okay.
liabilities, part 1. Long-term liabilities where?
part 1.
Uh-uh.
No, oh, part 3. Part 3.
And stockholders' equity is typically in what?
That's part
Part 4.
3.
Oh, part 2. Sorry. Okay.
But remember now, especially cash is going to go where though? This is our exception here. Where's
That's
cash?
going to be in part 4.
Part 4, because that's what we're trying to find.
Right.
Yeah, I did all that and it's still not adding up. I looked up the number and everything.
Let's just get the basics down first, okay? So this
So we're not looking at the net cash flow at the moment. We're just looking at the part.
I want you to look at your chart of account. So when you you're amending the chart of account to have it in cash flow designation. Okay?
Okay. Well, my chart of accounts is amended in cash flow statement or whatever. My chart of accounts, my cash flow statement or whatever, based off of the quiz, I went back to make sure that all of the numbers were correct. Question 1 and 2, 23 and 24, my numbers are adding up. For the financing part, it's off by 500. So I went back again to verify the numbers on the account based on the little income statement thing.
Okay. Sometimes when things copy off something like this, they change. If you don't see your number, put the correct one in.
Okay.
So if you don't see, so you say you got part 1?
Yes, I have for part 1, I got 1,000. For number 24, I got 2,100. And then for financing, I got 13,500. Well, negative 13,500. And then
For
for
part
the
one, how much you
payment,
get? 1,000. Because
I got 1,000 because my
sorry,
net income was 8,000. There was a decrease in accounts receivable for 7,000, and then the accrued liability for 2,000.
expense, depreciation
yeah, but what about your notes payable? Your notes payable is supposed to be an increase in current liabilities too.
Short term.
My note payable is a
Yeah,
long-term liability, so it goes in part 3 because
no.
it's a long.
It's defined in this problem. They define it as short term. What happens is that
I still
part of the note that's due within a year, you move that to current because anything's got to be paid within a year. So that might throw you off a little bit.
Okay, Dominic,
Okay.
what about your
Most times we've just been using it long term.
You said what?
It says short term, so because it says short term, you show it as a short term liability.
Okay, I could do that.
You got the accrued liabilities. I didn't hear you say anything about accounts payable.
Yeah, my accounts payable, I put it on source because it said, I put it on the U side because it said a decrease.
Okay, so you had that.
Yeah, I hadn't even said that part because it's an inventory up there too. I hadn't even said that part.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, your expense, what about your depreciation expense? You didn't say about that.
Yeah, one more time. My who?
Your depreciation expense, I didn't hear you say anything about that.
I don't know what you're saying.
The
I'm sorry.
He said your depreciation expense. He said that he didn't say that.
Okay, so with my depreciation expense, I didn't put that on there because that's on cost and expenses under revenues on the other side. So that doesn't actually go on the chart of accounts, and from my
It does
understanding.
because it's a non-cash expenditure. That's that number 3 thing that we do.
The number 3 who?
Remember, 1, change in cash, 2, net income, 3, depreciation expense.
Oh yeah,
because
at the top.
The depreciation expense that you have is really the change in accumulated depreciation.
Okay.
So
it's not the
right in here.
Accounts. It's just the so based on so when they say depreciation expense like this, it's the accumulated depreciation, not the depreciation expense.
Change, right? That's what it is.
Okay.
So when we do all of that, what do we have?
You have net income. For part 1, you're gonna have net income 8,000. Depreciation expense is 2,500. For decrease in current assets, accounts receivable, that's 7,000. Increase in current liabilities is note payable and note payable 5,500. Accrued liabilities 2,000, and then that total I got 25,000.
Okay.
And for my net loss area, increase current is inventory, which is 12,500. And then decrease in current liabilities is account payable, which is 3,500. And then it was just those two for net loss, and I got a total of 16,000. So then the net change is 9,000, and I don't see the answer there.
Okay.
That's what I got.
I got the
So
same
right
thing.
at 9,000. That sounds good.
Yes.
Dang, I feel so smart. Good. Thank you. Woo!
Yes.
So sometimes when things like this are copied, and I just copied it,
Oh,
either it wasn't in there in the first place. So this is so I can't change it. Well, I guess I could change these. But in general, sometimes they just come in wrong. So ignore any of the answers they have. I can cut them out. Yeah,
Give me a
just
hard
ignore
time.
the
Like,
answers. Just somehow they come in wrong. Just put answers in.
So when we turn this in, we should just fill in the correct answer.
Yeah, or you can just do the, really,
Let's do it
just
together.
turn in the spreadsheet. So I want you to become familiar with the spreadsheet. So I'm really not concerned with these. Just do the spreadsheet and turn the spreadsheet in.
Okay.
And that way you get that familiarity with the spreadsheet, which is really so the purpose here was to look at changes, but then you would put those changes on the spreadsheet to give a different level of familiarity with the spreadsheet. So that's all that's for. So anything else for the good of the cause? So can everybody do at least homework one? Can everybody do at least homework one?
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody who can't do homework one? If there is somebody who can't do homework one, you see me at 5:30 on Monday.
Yeah, I'll put it in the number. But I think I got it.
I'll be there, Professor.
Okay.
So just to confirm, Mr. Boyd, we should problem 8.1, you can submit it, the cash flow attendance quiz.
Correct.
Okay.
And the ones who are doing the regular attendance quiz, you just submit a spreadsheet. So the goal is just to have you, to give you a different level of familiarity with the spreadsheet and comfort with it. That is a template just to help you work it out. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I don't know if you brought this up, but what is the cash balance for attendance again? There's nothing, right?
So you're going to have to calculate it based on 1 + 2 + 3.
Yep.
So it didn't give you a change in cash, but remember the change in cash is 1 + 2 + 3.
Right. Now I got 2 negatives and 1 positive. So is it going to be a negative?
Add them together and come up with it. So you're telling me what the change in cash is. It can be positive or negative, depending on how those three look.
Why do you have 2 negatives?
Oh.
Why what?
I was asking why did she have 2 negatives? How did she have 2 negatives?
I think it was purchase.
So for part two,
Two.
yeah, part two, it's equipment. That's the only investment, and it was a purchase of a long-term assessing.
That's
So
negative.
how is that negative though? Because it says
Well,
increase.
yeah, decrease, yeah. So the
I'm sorry. Hold up.
It say
So
negative, so
negative,
I
like
mean,
you
it say
said,
increase, so it was positive. It
if
said
you
Wait,
buy equipment, if you buy the asset, your cash goes down. If you buy a car for $21,000, your cash should go down. So this is a use of cash.
yeah, so it'll be a positive number.
I think it's negative.
The only negative should be the financing, right?
No, if you
yeah,
look
negative
at
financing,
look
but
at it,
Oh, baby, it's okay at this point. My head hurt. It's okay.
that doesn't make sense though because increase in
It should be
property.
negative.
So it's gonna
This
be
it's negative.
Okay.
part
okay. So it
two
is negative.
is negative. Part three is negative.
Negative.
Thank you. So I did get it right.
Yeah, we're saying that. Part two is
Because
negative.
I got
Part
confused.
three is negative.
Okay.
So that would mean they had a lot of cash at the beginning because the change in cash is going to be what?
I'm sorry.
The change in cash is going to be what?
Negative.
Negative.
It's gonna be negative.
That's a 10, 30, 40. That's 80, 31. Negative.
So once again, I'm not so much concerned with the answer as you getting familiar with that spreadsheet to work with it and utilizing that to help you. How we coming, Brother Bay?
Brother Bay.
I have
Are
a
you going to be able to help
question.
your mother with that $1 million?
Say that again.
Are you going to be able to help your mother invest that $1 million?
Yeah, better this time.
So let's look at what we've done. We started off having you prepare financial statements so you could, and mainly income statement, balance sheet. Then when you did your fraudulent company reports, and so you found out that companies commit fraud. Now we're showing you how a statement of cash flow can help you and how to do the calculation. But your major takeaway at this point is your cash flow paper, where you utilize this cash flow information to make a decision on whether you're going to invest $1 million or not. That's the main takeaway, the cash flow paper, where you're able to do something that you were not able to do before. On the first day of the class, you could not have done a cash flow paper. So that's the major takeaway in terms of you can now go through and look at a company and make some sort of determination of whether you would invest $1 million or not. You learn how to do financial statements. You learn that sometimes they're fraudulent, other companies are not doing well. And so now you got your thing that has got to have positive operations or the company's in problems. So that's where we are. You finished, Dominic? You finished it now?
Yes.
So what you all should do will be to work some more problems. You got 8 problems. Just practice on 2 or 3 more problems. That's what we'll do on Monday. So on Monday, we'll practice on an early problem 1 through 3 and a later problem, problem number 8, since it has a loss. So that's what we're going to do on Monday, practice on 2 problems.
Is there anything due on Tuesday?
Just your cash flow paper.
Is the answer 9,000 for the number one? Sorry,
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been working on it this whole time. It's 9,000. Thank you,
And you
Jesus.
finish? And you finish?
I just finished the 24, number 24. I finally
number-
got it.
Okay.
He said it's 9,000.
Okay. So you're doing the template. So what are you asking about 9,000?
Is the net cash for operation activities 9,000?
Is
Yes,
that
that's
what you
right.
all got?
Yes.
Yes, for
Okay,
part
so
one.
that's correct.
That's cool.
So it won't take y'all that long after all now. Y'all becoming experts.
Yeah, I'm working. I'm trying. I do have a question for. What did I just take out? It was the deferred tax liabilities.
Long-term liability.
Deferred. Okay, that's deferred me. Okay.
Sometimes you'll do tax methods that defer taxes. Like that's why Donald Trump doesn't owe any taxes. He defers his taxes. Got it?
He prolongs it or delays it.
So that's what we mean by deferred. He has income, but he takes write-offs so that he doesn't have to pay his taxes now. And he keeps doing it. He keeps deferring it, so it's long term. So that's what deferred tax liabilities are.
Okay. Let me get on to number 2.
Clinton, you mighty quiet. You still with us? She had to depart. Darian?
I wasn't able to understand the attendance quiz, so I went ahead and did the 8.1.
That's fine. So I'll look at that and everything. So that was just to have you get you familiar with that using changes, but it did have some new accounts. So we'll see. I'll look at it and I'll make sure that we are clear and on point on Tuesday. We will be clear and on point on Tuesday.
And no office hours tomorrow?
If you want them.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't gonna
Yes,
miss
sir.
anything.
Say yes, sir.
I was acknowledging you earlier. I'm a little under the weather today, so that's why I'm just kind of sitting back. But I heard you. I just couldn't press mute fast enough.
So are you got this down?
I've been sitting here the whole class listening and taking notes.
But that didn't answer the question.
You know,
though.
I'm gonna see you Monday regardless, though. Greg, I'm gonna see you Monday regardless. So we'll put the answer to the test. You'll be the judge.
Okay, so we'll look at it, and I'll look at what you did and my sense of where you are. But everybody should be able to do one now, or do one enough to get a C. Okay, you should be able to do that. So you got 2 and 3, which are similar. So work 2 and 3. You know what the answer is in those, the change in cash. And then I think 4 through 8 has gains and losses. So that's the only difference. Okay. Anybody else? Miss Kyla down there in the corner.
All right, I have a lot going on, but I'm still attentive and I'm I'm really not a C student, but I couldn't understand the other one, so I have to speak more for the C.
Well,
But hopefully, you know, you don't think of a C, you give me an A or a B, you know? A for effort. I don't want to be
he's up for effort, but we'll look at it and we'll try to get.
because I don't want to be a C student, but I also want to at least have a semi-accurate submission.
So what I'll probably do, I'll look at those cash flow papers. So you need to do a good cash flow paper, have a good company and do a good analysis. And I might increase the points on that cash flow paper. I might move it to 20 points. Assume you got a good analysis, but you got to have a good company and a good analysis where you utilize it. So yeah, there are things that I'll look at and I'll adjust. So I might reduce the points that's going to count on the in-class quiz and increase it for the cash flow paper, which is really the most important thing that you're doing. You got no excuse why you can't be an A student on the cash flow paper. Right, Jennifer?
Yes, sir. Last question. You just want us to turn in the Excel spreadsheet, correct? Not the Word one?
Right, just do the Excel spreadsheet. I'm really just trying to get you familiar with that spreadsheet.
Okay.
So do the Excel spreadsheet. You all have a nice, restful, safe cash flow weekend. We'll see some of you on Monday to practice some. We'll have this quiz on Tuesday. You turn in your cash flow papers. Done very nicely. I think I got two submissions in there. So you might want to say, well, if it's 20 points, I might want to up it a little bit and do a little bit more. Then that would drop down how much the in-class test. Then I'll look at the in-class test. I'll look at how you all did on what you did, what I sent in class today. And I will try to come up with something that's fair and doable. Okay? Okay,
Yes,
we'll
sir.
see you all
Thank you,
next week.
Professor.
Thank you,
you.
Professor. Have a good day.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Malik. What you doing?
Okay, look. Let me tell you something. I'm sitting here doing this thing, and I know what I'm. The thing is, I know what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I'm in the band hall. I'm in the band, so it's a lot of noise. But I know what I'm doing because I passed the last class, accounting 1 or whatever, and so I'm sitting here going through the paper. I mean, like the spreadsheet. But I'm trying to figure out, like, am I supposed to be filling in the account names as well?
No, just changes. Well, yeah, you put the name in, but it's the change that's the key.
So what am I doing? What?
Did you
I
do
didn't
your cash
understand
flow
that.
paper?
I did.
So the purpose is a cash flow paper that you can do that. So this is just a technique of how to do it. And I gave you 4 things: change cash, net income, depreciation, dividend. Flat out
Cash, net income, depreciation, dividend.
Yeah. Be in there at 5:30 on Monday, ready to work problem 2.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody
great day.
else? You too. Bernard, Hunt,